Good evening to all the NSEJS aspirants. This is your Prasanna Ma'am from NEET World. So yes, in today's session, we are going to look into NSEJS 2022 questions. So far, we have dealt with the NSEJS 2024 questions, NSEJS 2023 and NSEJS 2022, one session we have done beta. So today we are going to look into the second session of NSEJS. So how we are going to look into the questions in detail. Each question along with the concepts and what are the reference books that you have to refer for the concepts of that question are being dealt, and each option is analyzed in a detailed way. So to all the aspirants of NSEJS, this will be the best session for biology beta. So let's get started without much delay. First question here, if you see, it is a common observation that members of Cucurbitaceae like bottle gourd, pumpkin, watermelon, muskmelon, etc. have large fruits while their stems are usually not more than a finger thick. Okay, stems are just finger thick, but then their fruits are very long. The mechanical support for the stem is aided by stem tendrils. Okay, the mechanical support is aided by what beta? Stem tendrils, as they are climbers. Okay, but then fruit size is long, stem size is just a finger thick. What helps so much food to be translocated from leaves to fruits for storage? Okay, from leaves. Leaves are what over here? Over here leaves will be source and fruits are what? Sink. Always the food is translocated from source to sink, right Nama? From source to sink. Food is translocated from source to sink through phloem tissue. Source can be green and matured leaves. Green and mature leaves will be the source in plant body. Okay, and through phloem tissue, what all can be sinks, what all can act as sink in the plant body? As mentioned in the question, storage fruits can act as sink, storage fruits, and senescent leaves, buds, okay, buds, shoot buds or leaf buds, they can act as sink, and young leaves or leaf primordia, floral meristums and floral buds, flowers, all these can act as what? Sinks. The nutrition, the food material is being translocated from the source, that is green mature leaves, to the sinks. Sinks can be anything like young leaves, leaf primordia, fruits, senescent leaves, buds, floral meristums, floral buds and a mature flower. Okay, all these can be what? Sinks. Remember that. So this translocation is mediated by phloem. In question, what is rightly asked is, in Cucurbitaceae large sized fruits are present. So for this large sized fruits, when they are acting as sink, the only source is what? Leaves are the source. How the food is translocated is the question. What is the mode of nutrient translocation? Is it through intraxillary vessels, intraxillary phloem, or sieve tubes with companion cells, bicollateral vascular bundles, or trichomes in internodes? Of course, trichomes in the internodes has no role in the conduction of food materials or in translocation. Bicollateral vascular bundles are the key characteristic feature in the Cucurbitaceae family, wherein bicollateral vascular bundles means what ma? You will have two phloem units in between the xylem and cambium. Two phloem units will help in maximum conduction of food materials from source to sink. That is how you can see large sized fruits are supplemented with food and inefficiently, okay, efficiently, sorry. Large sized fruits are supplemented with food efficiently because of having bicollateral vascular bundles, which is a characteristic feature of Cucurbitaceae members. Understood? So, we will understand the question and analyze it much better through the theory. In Cucurbitaceae, that is pumpkin, bottle gourd, watermelon, each vascular bundle is bicollateral. Okay, each vascular bundle is bicollateral, wherein outer phloem, here you can see outer phloem followed by a cambium, outer phloem followed by a cambium, and then in between the cambium you will have what? Xylem, and then inner cambium and inner phloem. So, in between outer phloem and inner phloem, at the center there is xylem, and in between xylem and phloem on the two sides we have a cambium which will supplement the secondary growth. Okay. So, here if you see we have outer phloem followed by a cambium and then xylem followed by a cambium and then inner phloem. Having two patches of phloem, outer and inner, means more sieve tubes and companion cells per cell. Yes or no? What are the phloem tissues beta? Phloem is a complex vascular bundle, okay, where phloem tissues include sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers, and phloem parenchyma, of which we already know that sieve tubes are enucleated. All the metabolic role that is being taken care by sieve tube cells are being genetically designed by what? Companion cells. Because of the absence of nucleus in sieve tube cells, companion cells will take over the activity. What activity should be done by sieve tubes is decided by companion cells, because these cells are enucleated. That is the reason sieve tubes and companion cells are said to be what ma? Sister cells. Sister cells, because they are ontogenetically related. Clear, right? So, here if you see, having two phloem patches, outer and inner, means they are having what? More sieve tubes and more companion cells. More sieve tubes and more companion cells means more will be the conduction. So, here if you see, large conducting cross section for photosynthesis, that is having more sieve tubes and companion cells means they are having large conducting cross section for photosynthesis. What are photosynthesis over here? Photosynthesis include the sugar molecules like mostly sucrose, the sugar units like sucrose, these will be the photosynthesis. And here if you see, developing cucurbit fruits are extremely strong sinks. They are the strong sinks which are demanding so much of sugars from the source. According to pressure flow hypothesis, that is Munch flow hypothesis, high rates of sugars are translocated, they will require ample phloem area. So, bicollateral vascular bundle will have two phloem units where it has ample phloem areas to lower resistance and handle the flux of the sucrose. Bicollateral bundles provide this. So, huge amounts of food can be moved quickly from the leaves to the fruits, that is from the source to the sink, even though stems remain thin. Okay. So, here you have to know one more point where we have to connect the plant physiology over here. When glucose is synthesized, in the chloroplast stroma, when glucose is synthesized, if this glucose has to store, this glucose will be stored in the form of starch. Glucose will be stored in the form of starch inside the chloroplast stroma, whereas glucose will be translocated in the form of sucrose for translocation. Okay, glucose will be translocated in the form of sucrose, stored in the form of starch. and due to the presence of bicollateral vascular bundles, that is 2 phloem units, more the translocation is happening in cucurbitaceae members. Though they are having thinner stems and thick sinks, those are storage fruits, the food is easily supplemented, the nutrients are easily supplemented from mature leaves to the fruits through bicollateral vascular bundles. I hope this is very clear to you, ma. Any doubts anywhere, you can tap a message in the chat box, I will be answering your doubts. Okay. Let us look into the other options as well which are given in the question. Okay. First option it is given is intraxillary phloem. What is intraxillary phloem actually? Phloem on the inner side of the xylem. That means first phloem which is closer to the pith, at the center if we have to take the pith, if this is the pith, closer to the pith phloem will be present, closer to the pith phloem, and outer side xylem will be there. Phloem on the inner side of the xylem near to the pith occurs in some dicots. This occurs only in few dicots, but this is not a key adaptation that is observed in cucurbits which is having heavy fruit loading. Okay. This is not observed in cucurbitaceae, this is observed only in few dicots. Second is what? Sieve tubes and companion cells. Possessing sieve tubes and companion cells is universal beta. All the vascular bundles, that is phloem, will be having 4 tissues in which sieve tubes and companion cells are present in all the type of plants. So, there is nothing special characteristic feature with respect to cucurbitaceae members. Sieve tubes and companion cells are present in all the types of plants, all the types of angiosperms. This is universal feature of angiosperm phloem, not a special reason for cucurbits. Exceptional translocation capacity. This will not show an exceptional translocation capacity. Next, trichomes on the internodes. Trichomes have no role in the translocation, their only role is in defense. So, here if you see epidermal hair, they do not conduct food at all. Okay. So, finally, if we have to take some note on the cucurbits, the note is cucurbits also have an extensive phloem network including extrafascicular phloem. Okay. But the textbook feature linked to their higher photosynthate transport, and the one tested in such question is the bicollateral arrangement. How extensive phloem network will be there? Along with the arrangement of bicollateral phloem, 2 phloems in between xylem. Along with that, they also have extrafascicular phloem, which will give additional translocation capacity in the cucurbitaceae members. So, this is all the concept beta, this is the complete concept for this question. Fine, right? So, once again look into it. It is common observation that the members of cucurbitaceae like bottle gourd, pumpkin, watermelon and muskmelon have large fruits, while their stems are usually not more than a finger thick. What helps so much food to be translocated from leaves to fruit for storage? It is through what? Bicollateral vascular bundles. Okay. Now, with respect to this question, such type of questions when asked on either vascular bundles or from the internal structures of the plant, that is from the anatomy of plant, what books we have to refer for this concept? Includes NCERT biology, of course, class 11, anatomy of flowering plants, and then class 11th transport in plants from plant physiology. From your plant physiology unit, you have transport in plants, plant physiology. Fine. And NCERT biology class 11th only, not 12, where you have to also look into photosynthesis in higher plants for both phloem transport and source sink relationship, and respiration in plants like to link the energy to food movement. And if I am not wrong, you should also look into morphology of flowering plants, morphology, to understand the adaptation of thinner stems in climbers. Their mechanical support is aided by a modification, that is stem tendril. Clear right now, ma? Next, Truman's elementary biology, wherein volume 1 of class 11, this with detailed diagrams of dicot stems and special bundles will clearly show you collateral, bicollateral and concentric vascular bundles. Next question, if you see, this is from genetics, very important ma. Genetics, very important question, a question which is raised from non-Mendelian inheritance, okay, non-Mendelian inheritance. Okay. So, once let us recall non-Mendelian inheritance. According to Mendelian's laws of inheritance, we have 3 laws ma. One is law of dominance, second will be law of segregation, third will be law of independent assortment. What are the other laws which are deviating from Mendelian laws of inheritance? What are the other laws that are deviating ma? We have incomplete dominance, incomplete dominance, complete dominance, sorry, incomplete dominance, codominance, pleiotropy, and then we have multiple allelism, and those laws which are deviating from Mendelian's laws of independent assortment, we have what? Polygenic inheritance. Polygenic inheritance. Fine, right? So, these are the laws which are deviating the Mendelian's laws of inheritance, which comes under non-Mendelian pattern of inheritance. So, look into the question ma, and amongst this which law is applicable for this question, I will be telling you. Look into the question carefully. In some birds like black plumage gene, in some birds black plumage gene is dominant over white plumage gene. Okay, black plumage gene is dominant over white plumage gene. One black bird was mated with white feathered bird. Let us assume black with homozygous dominant and white with homozygous recessive. And I hope you know the gene arrangement as such. See, 2 chromosomes, homologous chromosomes, wherein at the specific loci, at similar loci, 2 alleles will be present and these 2 alleles will code for the gene. Fine. One black bird was mated with, let us take this as male parent and recessive as female parent, and white bird, if you see over here ma, white bird here, they are having what genes? White bird over here has recessive genes, that is white feathered, that is small b on the same loci. That is the reason we will call it as what? Homologous chromosomes. So, here capital B and small b. And here after fusion what happens in the F1 generation? In the F1 generation, one black bird was mated with one white feathered bird. It resulted in all chicks with blue plumage. Okay, all the chicks are having what? Blue plumage. That is, this dominant allele is not completely dominant over the recessive allele. Okay, dominant allele is not showing its complete dominance on the recessive allele. That is why it is showing what phenotype in the F1 generation ma? Blue plumage. Blue color is observed. Selfing among these blue birds would result in what? Okay. So, here blue, giving out blue plumage when dominant and recessive gene is there. This is what? The phenomena of incomplete dominance. This is the phenomena which is explained clearly under incomplete dominance. Fine, right? So, here if you see selfing amongst this F1 generation will give you what result is the question asked. So, here if you look into the selfing of F1 generation, that is capital B small b and capital B small b. Okay. Draw out a checkerboard. Okay. Here it will be males over one side and female over one side. Capital B, small b, capital B, small b. What is the ratio that we are going to get? Okay. So, here if you see ma, 2 heterozygous genes we are obtaining. 2 heterozygous means here dominant allele is not showing its complete dominance over the recessive allele, where the heterozygous condition here it is showing what? Incomplete dominance, that is having blue plumage. Homozygous dominant capital B will reflect black plumage, and heterozygous dominant will reflect what? Blue plumage, and homozygous recessive condition will reflect white plumage. As such, we will be getting after selfing amongst the blue birds, the result would be one black and 2 blue and 1 white. Option A will be the right answer. We will get 1 black, 2 blue and 1 white. This will be the result in which generation? F2 generation. F2 generation. Clear, right? So, that is what you have to exercise. Based on the question, you have to analyze the answer. Okay, ma? And all these questions, na, we will solve it in the next class, including all the concepts like codominance, pleiotropy, multiple allelism. Taking out each concept, we will be solving out one question. Okay? So, now to exercise this type of questions, what books you have to follow? What books you have to follow? First, look into the theory as well. So, this theory, you know, just now we have discussed, it is incomplete dominance. Okay, this will be the genotypic ratio, and here in the incomplete dominance, both the genotypic ratio and phenotypic ratio will be one and the same, that is 1:2:1. According to Mendelian's law of inheritance, what will be the genotypic ratio, beta? Genotypic ratio will be 1:2:1 and phenotypic ratio will be 3:1. Fine. According to Mendelian law of inheritance, Mendelian pattern of inheritance. But then in incomplete dominance, both the genotypic and phenotypic ratio will be 1:2:1. Clear, right? So, what are the best NSEJS reference books to exercise this types of questions, both including Mendelian pattern of inheritance and Mendelian non-Mendelian inheritance as well? What are the books we have to refer, ma? NCERT Biology class 12, Principles of Inheritance and Variations we have to look into, both monohybrid cross, incomplete dominance and the rest concepts as well as I told you, codominance, multiple allelism, pleiotropy, polygenic inheritance. And then NCERT Science class 10th book also you have to look into, that is Hereditary and Evolution, basic crosses and the traits involved in that. And MTG book, that is NSEJS, JSO past year question papers and solutions will also help you out. And HBCSE Junior Science Olympiad resource booklets will also help you out in solving out introgenetic problems. Okay. So, this will be your best reference books, beta. So, with this I will end up today's session. In our next session, we will pick up few more questions from NSEJS 2022 and we will be solving it, beta. That's all for today's session. Thank you.